Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to the stream tonight, Saturday night, blah blah blah. And there he is. I was about to say, I'm gone. Yeah, just, everyone make sure you include your audio. Oh, jeez. Okay.
So now I gotta sift through a whole plethora of names just to find them. Oh god.
So you got you tonight, and our next guest is going to be what the fuck is his name? Colonel Satan?
Colonel Satan. Nice.
I think he's like one of those people who's like,
I'm sure
it's pronounced Satan.
Satan.
Hello, gentlemen.
You.
Let's see, who else I gotta get Echo.
How you doing tonight,
in this
Squid?
party? Doing good. Wait a minute, have I seen you before?
Possibly, maybe.
I think so. And I know I seen Yankee 6 because I was watching that raid on Gulf Omen. And I seen him
497
pop-
headshot.
Oh.
Almost a 500-meter headshot. I'm proud of that.
Did you see the Suave?
Did you see the swap kill?
Seen the fucking shitstorm at Gulf.
Yeah, that was a total shitstorm.
You guys could have just like got a bunch of mortars or something and fucking just bombed the roof. UCAVs or something that you guys are using. I don't know.
Screen caps. Of what they were doing.
Is this everyone?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, my
I'm
girlfriend
trying to
blew
figure
my
out who am I
phone.
missing?
I don't know.
Wait, Casey. He hasn't joined
Yeah,
yet.
Casey.
Why?
Yeah, I think he might be AFK.
Oh, come on, Casey. Why you do this?
Oh,
Oh,
there
no,
he
there
is.
he is.
There he is.
Everyone likes Norse stuff for some reason.
So, we were wondering, would you, I know last time I watched one of your interviews, you did it just at the home screen. Would you want to do a pub match with us, actually, while we do the interview, or would that be too distracting in terms of, like, what you need to do?
They should. I gotta turn on this game volume though.
Okay. I thought that could be
Just
something
out of
cool for us to
curiosity,
do.
what's the name of your channel on Twitch that you'll be doing this with? Milsim News?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I just want to pull it up on my phone that way I have it.
Alright.
Who is playing music?
It's one of the ads that they do before you can actually be allowed into the stream, is what it is.
What, they include audio?
Oh, yeah, everybody make sure you include your audio, by the way.
Yeah,
It'd be funny if
Yes.
you were speaking this
And
all the
let's-
time and weren't being heard.
Let's get something down real quick. If Squid is addressing your question to someone, let's have everybody else mute their mics so that the person addressing the question can answer it, please.
Right.
I should really get a studio for this setup.
Right. Have your own little studio room and everything for it.
Yeah. But what the fuck? Hold on a second, I got a phone call coming in.
No problem.
Okay, yeah, and I got the stream set up on my phone now, so I'm able to, I can screen record it.
Hold on a second, I
Oh, stream's up right now? Oh, cool. Wait, so Trigger, if you're playing in the background, I'm just gonna keep hearing myself in the background.
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool.
I'm gonna have it turned down somewhat to where hopefully we won't hear it in the background. If you guys do, I'll turn it down a little bit more.
If you want to, Trigger, share the link to the stream channel in the barracks chat.
Oh yeah, let me go. Yeah, let me go ahead and do that real quick.
I don't need an announcement chat. Fuck it.
Wonder if there's room in the server right now to where Squid could join. I started up our own squad here. Yeah, there's room.
I don't know. I think with
actually.
having a couple of drinks tonight and then also trying to play, I don't think that would work out too well.
What team are you on?
I'm just gonna. Do you want me to
dude
just throw it up in main comms, or do you want me to throw it up in the barracks? Because I think barracks, a lot of people have muted, but main comms are in.
You guys still there? Okay. I have no idea what the hell just happened. Damn, I have to go. I have no idea what just happened. All I know is the whole thing just crashed. I have no idea what just happened. Yeah, I saw that too. What the fuck? It's kind of a weird way to start a stream, I tell you. It's a weird way to start a stream.
Apologize for that.
It is a very weird way to start the stream. Faticus.
Mm-hmm.
Or Faticus.
Just in, breaking news. Breaking news. The 173rd is an amazing Milsim. This just in.
Faticus, you're a very
in?
hard person
Really?
to get a hold
Nobody
of.
knew this?
Alright, well hey, I
Are
wanna
you
let you guys
serious?
know I'll be watching the stream by Mr. Squid, and I put it in the community chat so everyone can get to know y'all.
Right.
Hey, that's awesome, brother.
Be on your best
Hey.
behavior.
Hey, Faticus. After we get done with the interview and everything, would it be possible that I could have a word with you in private after the interview?
Who's talking?
Trigger 25th ID. I'm the CEO of the 72nd Armor Division.
Yeah,
Or
so no
Armor
problem.
Regiment.
Just contact me, Squid, do your thing, 173rd. You guys are awesome, love you guys. You got interview bombed.
Hey, Faticus, also, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to shoot you my line information, just message me my line.
Watch this, bro. I did one better.
Oh, fat. Mike is making.
It's called a vacuum.
Oh, yeah.
Someone has some.
Much love. Peace, love, brothers.
Thank you.
Yep. Take it easy, Faticus. Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it, Faticus.
That was his mic.
Good old Faticus.
Okay.
Yep, broken mic and all.
Broken mic and
Fucking shit.
Oof.
Alright. I'm stuck at a queue. I'm not sure.
Oh, are you really? There was openings in the game.
Yeah, I had left out
Alright,
so there should be at least
I'm going
one
to
opening unless...
apologize in advance because I will be playing Monster Hunter World, so if you need to get my attention, it may take a couple times, but you definitely will get it.
I mean, at least you're giving warning before.
Just apologize in advance.
Right. Oh lord, I just got hit by a sniper round and an RPG all in the same moment. It's a little overkill.
Alright, let's get this party underway. You just go ahead and introduce yourselves. You start with whoever.
I gotcha. I guess we can just start at the top.
We'll go from the top and go down.
My name's Captain Sir Crescent. I'm the Executive Officer of the 173rd Airborne Brigade Combat Team. Currently I am the Acting Commanding Officer instead of my CO, Major Crusader, who is currently in a field training exercise as he's a active duty U.S. Navy CB. So he's going to be gone for a little while, about a month.
I didn't know Crusader was still doing that.
Absolutely.
Well, I know he was still CB, but I didn't know he was leaving
Milsim. No, he's not leaving Milsim.
I didn't know he was leading one.
Oh yeah. Oh, leading. Yeah. No. Yeah. There's a great story behind that I can tell you about. Pretty much a little bit of the history of the unit. For a while actually, everybody thought Crusader was dead. So.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Everybody thought everybody thought that he was killed in last deployment.
Yeah, there's a pretty decently long story behind that.
Yeah. But anyways, back to introductions. Casey, you're next, brother.
Okay. My name is Command Sergeant Major Ragnarok Actual. I am the Command Sergeant Major, or third in command, of the 173rd Airborne Brigade. Currently, while Crusader is on deployment, Crescent is the acting CO, and I am the acting XO. I run pretty much all of the 25th Aviation Regiment, our aviation detachment.
Yep. Alright.
Well, Echo can go next.
There you go. Go ahead there, brother.
How's it going? I'm Echo, Command Sergeant Major Echo, and I'm from 3rd Delta Force. Their SF detachment. You're up, Trigger.
I'm First Lieutenant Trigger 25th ID. I'm the commanding officer over the 77th Armor Regiment detachment of the 173rd Airborne Airborne. And I believe that would just leave my XO.
Yeah, I'm Captain Road Rage. I'm the XO of the 77th Armor Regiment. I host basically all trainings and command our own squad. Yeah.
Alright, well that's everybody, honestly. That's all of the command staff we have here today. Unfortunately, with Crusader being in the field training exercise, he's not going to be able to attend tonight, unless he makes a surprise appearance as he's able to access parties over, what is it? Oh, what is it? The Xbox app. Sometimes when he gets a little bit of reception in the desert that he's in right now, so...
He's gonna get murked. But tell us about 173rd. Give us a little bit of history behind it.
Alright, so the 173rd actually wasn't always the 173rd. It actually just recently became the 173rd on March 22nd of this year. Previously, before that, it was known as the 25th Infantry Division. We ran under those tags. In the total history of the unit, I want to say it was well over a year and a half. Now, of course, that's way past my amount of time that I've actually been in the unit, as I've just passed my full year mark of service for the unit last March.
Mm-hmm.
And back when it was the 25th Infantry Division, it was ran by Ancient when it first started. And Ancient is actually now a, I believe he's a second lieutenant, I want to say, in 4th Marine Division. He actually recently came back out of retirement and joined up with 4th Marine Division, but he was originally the commanding officer of the unit. And now, Casey, you might have to help me on a little bit of this, because like I said, I wasn't there. But I believe it was... I want to say it was
Gonna give you some
that took
info
over
real
the
quick
unit.
on why Crescent is asking me for like info.
Yeah.
Okay. So as it stands, the oldest member in the unit besides Crusader himself would be me. I believe I joined just before Ancient and Crusader took his place. When I had joined, Crusader was still he was still a sergeant, and he even ran my BCT along with some of the bigger names like Jug from JTF2, which is now currently disbanded, and he's currently with 4MD.
Shadow, I believe. Shadow was in the unit as well. The CO.
Yes, Shadow was there.
Division.
He was not at my BCT, but he was there. So this was a good while ago.
Yeah, I believe JTF2 was actually at one point in time considered the 25th
December
sister unit
of year before last was when JTF2 was created.
Yeah, and I want to say it was considered our sister unit.
Yeah.
I want to say it was. Yeah. There's a couple old members in, because I know me, Casey, and I know me and Casey were one of the two original 25th members from before JTF2 was a thing, and before we switched over to the 173rd. I know me and Casey are one of the oldest members in that were a part of the 25th.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, we do have a few of the older members actually here that like I said, I'm more of a baby in terms of Milsim years, so all this stuff happened way before me. Now, in terms of all the history, when the Crusader actually took over the unit, he ended up building up the unit to quite a considerable size, and with of course, considerable size doesn't mean nothing if you don't have active members, but they did actually manage to have not only a considerable size, but a considerable size in terms of active members. And from what I was told from secondhand information is that back in the day, the 25th Infantry Division was well known for a number of things, from our armor to defensive capabilities. We were known for staying in servers for as long as possible and defending objectives until the end, and not letting any enemies take it over. We would defend objectives for whole games. But what happened is that Crusader went on deployment, and he left it in charge of his executive officer at the time, who happened to be Need AJ. And now, at the time, AJ seemed like a person that was a good placement for the acting commanding officer in his stead when he went off on deployment at the time, but came to light very quickly, and to some people, it came to light even before this occurred, but Crusader was set on believing at the time, with, I mean, good intentions, considering, I mean, he had shown no issues with Crusader, and did everything he was supposed to, but it took only, I want to say it was 2 to 3 months before he had not only disbanded our entire unit, but he had also severed all of our alliances, essentially. So, allies with Shadow and 4MD and Jug and JTF2 at the time, and I do want to say Faticus as well. Casey, were we allied with Faticus back then?
No,
or was it 101A ran under?
We were a part of VSOC, and I believe I'm supposed to keep that information confidential. For those of you who were in VSOC that are currently watching the stream, you do know what I'm talking about. But other than that, I do not believe I am allowed to talk about VSOC.
I gotcha, no problem. But yeah, so trusted executive officer took his place and showed that he wasn't so trustworthy after all. Now, during this time, when the unit was disbanded, it had, like, I want to say a month or two or so of just not being alive whatsoever. But AJ actually decided to restart the 25th Infantry Division, and he basically tore down everything that Crusader had put in place in terms of structuring, trainings, BCT, all the inner workings of it with his own, with what he had wanted the unit to be like. So he made the unit his own under the 25th Infantry Division name. And what was even worse was the fact that he had told everybody that Crusader had actually died on deployment and that he wasn't coming back. And I was told at the time that he was actually in the Army, not the Navy, and that he had went over to Afghanistan and he had died. Well, lo and behold, fast forward a bit, I come into the picture along with the first class of the new 25th Infantry Division, which there was only 2 graduates of, which was me and a member that's no longer with us, King. He was he actually served as my as the 3IC and then the XO under me for quite some time. But he left us and retired from Milsim altogether. Oh God, at the end of last year, I want to say it was. He had served the unit for well over 7 months. So, but we came into fruition, the new 25th Infantry Division, and we ended up, me and King ended up raising through the ranks, and the more that we raised through the ranks, the more we realized that AJ wasn't the great commanding officer that we had thought he was in the beginning. As, I mean, when I joined, for anyone that doesn't know, I've only been in Milsim for like a year and a few months. So before this time, I had no idea what Milsim was whatsoever. I just got invited to a party by him, and he was like, "Hey, you know what Milsim is?" And I was like, "No clue, buddy." And filled me in. I loved it. Thought he was a great guy. But like I said, when we started going more up the ranks, came to our attention that he wasn't the great CO he was trying to portray himself to be. He blew off a lot of his duties, actually all of his duties, and when I became the executive officer, all of his duties were placed onto me, and I actually ran the unit essentially, as he was never active, and when he was there, it was only briefly or he had to leave. So the unit took me as their CO, essentially, more so than AJ. And after a while of the way that he was acting, his activities and everything that he was doing, and really blowing off the unit, we got tired of it because the unit was going nowhere. And it was actually going downwards because people were leaving. There was issues because he was being disrespectful to some of the members. Just because they wouldn't show up to trainings, even though like they gave reasonable explanation, he would like talk down to them like, "This is important, like you need to be here." And he actually went off on one of our members at the time who was still in high school, and he was studying for a test, and he had told me about it, and I told him that it was okay, you know, school is school, you got to do what you got to do. Milsim comes second to all that, and he joins the game, and after having studied, because he was a little bit late, and AJ went off on him, just dogging him for no reason, just like, why weren't you here, blah blah blah. And unit began to resent him, and so did we, and we ended up actually sitting down and having a professional discussion with him. We didn't really form a coup, though beforehand I did talk with a lot of the members in the unit and explain to them what it is that I was going to be doing in terms of setting up a meeting and what the meeting would entail and what the consequences of that meeting could entail. Because at the time, he was waving around blacklisting and all kinds of stuff at the time, and me being a newer person to Milsim, I didn't know any better, so I thought, well, if we try to have this discussion, it could go south, and he could try to blacklist us from the unit, or like blacklist us from the community because we were going against his command. So, knowing now, I knew that wouldn't have been a thing, but at the time I knew nonetheless, and sat down, had a discussion, explained everything to him. Everybody spoke their mind in the command staff and how they felt, and we were able to actually convince him that it was time for him to move on and let somebody else take the place that actually could bring the unit up to what it had the potential to be. That's where I stepped in. I became the commanding officer of the unit. Under me, I had TSR Cobra, who is still within our unit. He actually is under Echo in the party here, in 3rd Delta Force. And I also had King, who is no longer with us, as my 3rd in command. Now, I was the commanding officer for about 2 to 3 months before Crusader came back. And I remember when it happened, we had a few old members from 25th Infantry Division that had joined back, having heard that the unit was up. I remember I was told by one of the old members that they had gotten in contact with Crusader, and he was actually back from deployment. And I was like, there's no way. He's dead. Yeah, was that you, Casey?
It was me. I had gotten in contact with you because I had heard that you were the 25th CO, the new one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and
I had even gotten my transfer papers from JTF2's Squadron 427. I had got my transfer papers to come run your aviation. It didn't work out after a little while, so I just fell in with basic infantry.
So that happened actually right after I had joined in to JTF2, because I wasn't in JTF2 too long until you had actually got your DD-214 and went back to 25th.
I didn't get my DD-214, I got transfer papers.
Well, yeah, transfer
Those are
papers.
different.
Yeah, you had gotten your transfer papers to go to 25th. So yeah, I think I stayed in maybe like a month after you had left, and then I actually came back to the 25th. So that actually... That didn't happen.
See, now,
too
all
long
that
after,
happened, I think, actually after Crusader became the CO again. Because when he came back, my mind was honestly blown. Because, like I said, I had been told that he was dead. And when Casey got in contact with me, and I actually looked up his line ID and not his line ID, his gamer tag, and it showed he was online, Crusader 25th ID, I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So, it took Crusader a while to actually get into a party with me. Took him about 2 weeks, but it was understandable because he had just got back from deployment. He was getting back into his daily life and everything, getting situated, seeing the family, all that stuff. So he was getting all situated from coming back from deployment, so it was understandable. And when he got in contact with me, he actually told me. Well, I told him everything that had happened, and he actually told me what had really happened. He told me that he was not in the Army. He was actually in the U.S. Navy. He was U.S. Navy Seabee. He was never deployed to Afghanistan. He was deployed to the Philippines. And he was most certainly not dead, obviously. So everything had been a lie from AJ that he had spawned about simply to take over the unit in his own way. And he was bad at it, and he drove it to the ground. So what was once a huge powerhouse was driven to the ground, all within a powerhouse that Crusader had created was driven into the ground during his deployment, and he came back to a unit that was half the size, or a little bit more over than half the size of what it used to be, and not in any way well structured. So essentially, he had to start at square one again. Now, he didn't take back over or like right away. Actually, my command staff was extremely against Crusader coming back to the unit. Surprisingly, it was due to the fact that I had it was still fresh, that I had just taken over as the commanding officer, and a lot of the members in the command staff at the time felt that that they had put a lot on the line in terms of speaking out against AJ and wanting to put me as CO. So they felt like it was a slap to the face to them to just give my CO position away right away. But I was able to talk to them to get them to understand, because at the time our unit was growing well under me, but it was getting to a size in which my knowledge in Milsim couldn't really handle. I didn't know how to structure that big of a unit. I was new to Milsim and everything. And then Crusader comes in. He's seasoned veteran in Milsim. He's done this before. He's ran a large unit, and I saw an opportunity to grow and learn under him. So I was able to convince the command staff, and he ended up taking over. I stepped down from commanding officer of the unit to executive officer, and I gave Crusader the commanding officer spot back, and he started up the 25th Infantry Division and brought it to where it is today. It's the 173rd Airborne, with me under him, kind of mentoring, I guess you would call it. He's sort of grooming me for when he goes on deployment next, so that what happened with AJ doesn't happen with me. My goal is that when he comes back from deployment, it's not going to be in shambles like it was when he gave AJ the position. I want him to come back to a unit that has grown exponentially since he has left, and that is still well structured and running smoothly. So that's my goal.
That was a long-ass history.
Yeah, it was very long history. Like I said, the unit's been around for a while, and it's only just recently switched over, so...
yeah,
there's plenty of stuff I probably didn't even mention in our history. I would have to talk to Crusader about it, or we could probably write up a little document history of the unit.
Yeah, the 25th, I would probably say it's one of the original... Milsim units that's been around. It's because 25th was one of the very first ones I joined around, and it's been around for basically. I went through the 25th and probably about 3 to 4 other units before I came back. And I mean, the 25th, it's still cool. It still was kicking at the time, and then went and we transferred over to the 173rd Airborne. So I mean, it's been. We're currently getting back to the powerhouse that we used to be, if not that it already is, because we're working on different things that inside of the unit, so we're getting back to our powerhouse status that we used to have.
Right, which is honestly great. It's great to see actually come into to play now. From where it used to be when I first joined the 25th Infantry Division back in the day. It's great to see how far we've come.
Alright. Next question is, what do you think about the BF4 community?
The Battlefield 4 community. Well, I've been talking a lot, so I'm going to give it over to the rest here for a moment. Thing about me, I talk a lot. Ask any of my men here.
He'll go on forever if you don't.
I'll go on forever, bro.
Yeah,
so you guys take over. Tell us
what you... a beer in his hand. That way he'll stop. Because that's about the only thing that's going to shut it.
That's even worse. If you give me any sort of alcoholic beverage.
I don't think we need to talk about what happened. Anyway,
Yeah,
so the
let's
Battlefield
talk
4
about that.
community, I'll give you my 2 cents on it. I really like some of the people in it, and I know that some people are looking out for us when they tell us, like, hey, you know, don't do this or don't do that. Most of the time, I see arguments between units, and I see things like, and I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but I see units being made into memes, and I remember a while back, I'll give you an example, a while back, I don't know exactly how long ago this was, I had probably just gotten an invite to the Battlefield 4 community, because I had just become the 3rd in command again. I say again because previously, in the old 25th, the one that Crusader had to leave because he was being deployed, it would go down to need AJ, and then it would come down to me. I was sort of the unofficial 3rd in command. Although, ask anyone else, and they will say it was Optic Siege. That was who he had put in control, or who AJ had put in control. But I remember Colonel Satan. I don't remember what his full name was, but he had requested server name and details, and someone was trying to get a hold of him, but they didn't have any cell reception, so when they got back on, a lot of stuff was said that shouldn't have been said. So it kind of left a bad impression on the community for me. I don't really see it as a place where you can go if you need help. I see it more of as a place where you go if you want to smack somebody and make a meme out of them. But that's just my 2 cents, and I'll hand it off to Trigger here. He can tell you what he thinks of it.
Well, with the
Hold on, Gabe. I'm doing an interview right now. I can play later. All right. All right. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's fine.
That's alright.
So basically with the Battlefield community, I've been in the community for round about definitely 5+ years, and I've went in and out of my fair share of units. I've led my own units, well, my own unit in the community, and it's kind of an up and down thing with the units. You'll find some that are out there who are actually trying to simulate what Milsim actually is and what it stands for, and then you have some out there that are what we call cancer units that use just ridiculous tactics. They call themselves Milsims, but they don't actually follow what military simulation it is. So it's kind of the thing of having to find that correct unit and everything, in which with me, I found my home to be with the 25th, or now the 173rd, because there's some leniency that we have inside of the unit, but at the same time, we have that time where we can play around and everything, but then there's a time where we actually have to get down to business, do what we need to do, and everything, and we have to show some professionalism when it comes to being a Milsim, because we're probably, correct me if I'm wrong, we're probably one of the units that a lot of people have heard about and everything, and a lot of people have came to us with different things, want to do JTOs with us. I mean, the community, it's I would have to say I really like it and everything. Granted, there are some people out there who do deserve to be in the community, but those people who don't deserve to be in the community will band together with all the other teams and stuff. We'll have a meeting about it or whatever, and kind of see what we should do, whether we should kind of try to help that unit out to make them better to where they can stay in, or whether they just shouldn't have a spot in the community at all. So with the community, it's kind of like an up and down kind of thing, depending on which unit it is, kind of how it is. But definitely for anybody, like if there's anybody that's watching this right now that's not in Milsim, you're kind of curious about Milsim or something like that, come and check out the 173rd, check out the 101st Airborne.
Oh, nice advertisement.
Well, I mean, like, come check out 173rd, come check out 4MD, 101A. I mean, there's a big multitude of different, like, just different Milsim units that are out there. And it's just kind of, you have to find which unit you like the best and the people that are in it, because throughout my time in the community, I've met a lot of awesome people, but I've also met my fair share of people that I don't like. But in the end, they've actually helped me out with being able to simulate Milsim properly. I've learned different things from them and everything. Like with me and Ragnarok, we've butted heads a lot. And I mean, even then, we still kind of butt heads a lot. But at the end of the day, we're still in the same unit, and we're brothers in arms. We fight and everything with JTOs or in wars or whatever, and we get our stuff done. Whether we argue all the time or butt heads or whatever, at the end of the day, we still like each other. We're still in the same unit and everything, and we still get over whatever we may have argued about. You're always going to meet people out there that you may not like, you may not get along with and stuff, but you just kind of have to
constantly. But you kind of just meet them and you see, well, this guy's not half bad.
Yeah, right. It's just you meet a lot of people in the community. I mean, overall, the community, it's absolutely awesome. It's a whole lot of fun being in the Milsim community and everything, and I'm definitely looking forward to it prospering and growing even more, to the point where any server you go into, regardless, there's always some kind of major unit that everybody knows of, whether it be 173rd, whether it be 101A, 4MD, regardless of who it is. I would like to see major units when you pop in a server. It's like, oh hey, I know that unit. We did a JTO with them like 2 weeks ago or whatever. I mean, it's definitely a really cool community. It's just everything about the community is very, very awesome. It's very good, and it's definitely for everybody.
I think that leaves you, Echo.
Silent myth.
Yeah, I mean,
honestly,
my views on the community, I kind of just, more or less, I haven't had much experience in the community, ergo I can't really form an opinion of it yet.
Well, let me just give your overall view of what you think of it right now, man.
I mean, I approve of it completely. I mean, it's all about mentality going into it.
Yeah, really. It's the way that you conduct yourself in the community, really, that's going to determine how your experience in the community is going to be. A lot of these newer units go in there really cocky. They go in there really cocky.
Yeah,
they like to talk a lot of shit
around. Yeah,
they were like, oh, well, I'm going to drop a war doc on you, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Don't do that. Now, I was lucky enough when I just became the CO of the 25th Infantry Division. Huh?
You called her bluff, just say bet.
Exactly. And when I became the... oh, wow, I'm getting sick at. Ooh! But when I became the CO of the unit, directly... my apologies, that's west. He's laying down. He's walking out.
I got smirked.
Nice. My apologies. When I became the CO of the unit, I actually, funny enough, Bama, great guy from 101A, the XO of 101st Airborne, I met him in a pub match. I team killed him. I blew up his tank with an RPG, and then killed him again, and teabagged him. Yeah, not the best thing that I've ever done, but it was in a pub match in my defense. It was on Milsim time. He pulled me into a party, as you can imagine, very quickly, and there was like almost a full party worth of 101st Airborne members in there. I was just like, oh, great, cool, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning too. And
yeah,
he
just drop kick the hornet's nest.
And yeah, and we were still like, I had just taken over at the time too, so I mean, like, we weren't where we wanted to be, and nowhere near where we needed to be if we were trying to fight 101A. So thank God the conversation went really well. Me and Bama actually connected pretty well. I had a really good talk about stuff, and he gave me really good advice about joining the community. And that was to, you know, really stay humble when you join a community. Don't be that cocky person, you know. Join a community, stay humble, keep to yourself, focus on your unit, because honestly what the community is there for is a place for you to talk to other units and, you know, pull them in and set up JTOs and stuff. I mean, you really shouldn't be focusing on the drama of the community. Don't try to jump into the drama. Just use it as a place to communicate, pull somebody into a PM or something. But until you start getting really bigger, don't be going out there trying to threaten people and everything. Honestly, even when you do get bigger, you shouldn't be going out and threatening anybody regardless. But just always be humble and remember where you come from. In terms of, you know, your unit's origins and how far you guys have come, and be respectful and polite and professional. It's not that hard, but like these, if you go about it that way, you'll have a good time in the community, because people can respect professionalism and the way that you carry yourself, and that overall, the way you carry yourself and the way you talk to other units is going to be the way in which other units get first impressions of how your unit is as a whole, as every member of your unit represents the unit, so the way they conduct themselves is very important in that.
Yeah, because word does get around about different units, whether you're a small unit, big unit, regardless, word gets around. I mean, even if you're an individual, I've had times where I haven't been in Milsim for like a month or something like that, and I'll just have 1, 2, 3, hell, even 4 different Milsim teams coming in saying like, hey, would you be interested in joining in? And then come to find out that they had heard from another person that I was in Milsim and everything. It's all about reputation that you build in the community.
Right. And honestly, another really good thing is surrounding yourself with the right people. Really important
that's
thing.
A big
surround
thing.
yourself
That
with those
really
that are experienced in Milsim, people that actually know what they're talking about. Military veterans, the veteran community in our community, great group of guys. The new military advisors that were just implemented, great group of guys have already. I want to say it's Sarnt. Shout out to Sarnt. He answered some of my questions in regards to attachments for our rifles and what it is that the actual U.S. Army uses. People like that that you can surround yourself with, know what they're doing. That's how you really build up your unit. That's how you grow as an individual in the community.
All right.
Yeah, pretty much my view of the community is.
Poor Squid. He was trying.
Oh, I'm sorry, Squid. Go ahead, bro.
Squid's like, you guys talk way too much, man.
It's like, God damn it, we got other guests, damn it.
I got done real
Fine,
quick.
I'm good. My view is pretty much triggers, so.
What do you guys think about the BF1 side of the house?
Battlefield 1. You know, I think that the Battlefield 1 side of things is really cool. It's but I imagine it's very different. I haven't had any experience with Battlefield 1 Milsim, but I imagine the experience of it is a little different considering the setting, and I imagine setting up training documents and everything must be really hard to do as well, because you got to pull up. I imagine research into World War I military training documents is.
There. I mean,
just not something I've taken or done. Oh really?
Yeah. I mean, there are raids that go over there.
Some strat.
Yeah. And they do set up campaigns. They're not as the whole busybody as you see the BF4 community is.
See, yeah. And I feel like that's also partly just due to the time period. Maybe not a lot of people are interested in doing a World War I Milsim. I personally think it's pretty cool. Is it something that I would do rather than Battlefield 4 Milsim? No, my place is in Battlefield 4 Milsim, and hopefully the next game here coming up on the 23rd, I want to say it is, that they're doing the teaser trailer. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be a very modern one.
I'm hoping modern, Bad Company 3, but I also would not be disappointed at all with a World War II. I would not. As long as they have, I'm going to say it wrong, the transport planes that they used in World War II for Airborne. If they have that in the World War II version of Battlefield 4, I would love it, because as an airborne unit, I want to do airborne operations. So.
Well, come on, you need to use give tanks a bit of stuff.
Yeah, no, they would have.
Alright,
You're talking about...
Yeah.
Oh, I was saying, are you talking about, like, the transport planes? Like, there would be a lot,
yeah,
there would be a lot of them?
Well, I would say you need a lot of them, but it just depends on how big the unit is.
Right, exactly. Honestly. But, I mean, I think it'd be cool.
Next question. Is there any plans to move to BFE? The next battlefield is apparently called BFE or something.
I wouldn't say there are any set in stone plans, but I'm sure we do have, plans inside of our own heads about what are we gonna do.
Yeah.
What kind of game is this gonna be? It would all depend on what kind of game it is.
Yeah, it honestly boils down to what is this new game going to be, and a lot more goes into it really that we have to think about. I mean, we've talked about it. We've talked about what's the new game going to be. If the new game is this, what would we do? But I mean, we would have to figure out how many of our members are going to be able to get that new game, and when they're going to be able to get it, and also setting up everything in the new community. Depending on the time period of the game, altering trainings and everything to meet that time period. A lot that goes into it, but I think it would be really cool to do if we could actually get to that point and swap over to the new game, because I mean, I imagine everybody's going to be playing it. Everybody's going to want to dip their foot in that new Battlefield game Milsim experience. I bet.
Alright, any problems you see in the community that could be fixed? You got a bed, don't you?
Could be fixed a little bit.
I will be back. I'm going to use the restroom real quick.
My personal opinion is a little bit of a drama. I think could be fixed a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there is a little bit of issues with that, because I've run across that a couple times throughout my Milsim lifetime. I've been in Milsim for around 5-6 years, and I've been moving around quite a bit, and my home, of course, right now is Milsim 3rd, and I plan to keep it that way. And I've come across a couple units that have been a little bit memeish or unprofessional just due to their age, and I know it's, when I was first introduced to Milsim, I think it was like 18 and older, you could then set up a unit. I don't know, obviously it's not that now. I meet a couple people that are 16, 15 that are starting up their own units, and that's fine. I mean, I'm okay with that, but I mean, if you're going to set up a Milsim like that and try to be with the community, I think you should be a little bit more professional and not jack around with it a little bit.
Right. Building off of that, honestly, in terms of the professionalism aspect, I think like the drama and the professionalism thing could use some work. Now, I mean, obviously, I mean, you can't force somebody to do something, but I mean, I think a more professional approach to things, especially regarding like conflict and everything, can really, can honestly save you and your unit like a lot of drama. Unneeded drama. Depending on how you approach the situation will depend on how the outcome's really going to be. One thing that I think the community could use work on personally is the simulation aspect. Now, I feel nowadays, and speaking to older units in Milsim, older members, COs, and everything in Milsim, and how Milsim used to be, I feel like the Milsim community nowadays is strayed a little bit too far away from what it is that Milsim is supposed to be about it in terms of core values, in terms of honor and properly simulating the military to the best of your ability to honor those that currently serve and those that have served, not only in general but also under the unit that you're representing. A lot of people are really focused in that win-loss ratio. Like everybody, I mean, I'm guilty to it for myself. I only have war wins in my bio, but there's people that I've seen skirmish wins, raid wins, JTO wins, all the different kinds of wins and losses in their bio. Constantly updating it, constantly trying to just go for that win. I mean, it's not all about winning and losing. It doesn't matter if you lose, because every loss is a lesson for you to learn and for you to use as a place to build off of in terms of your unit. Things you guys can work on.
I believe the Milsim community is more of a family base, and I believe that sometimes some units, like you said, Chris, stray a little bit from that, and to me, from my standpoint, it's a little bit more of a disrespecting the whole family and the whole purpose of why we all get together and make these units and have a good time together.
Right. And honestly, I would love to see a lot of things changed in terms of like actual like simulating stuff in terms of patrols. Something we've started doing in our unit now, we do actual patrols on maps, convoys, convoy tactics, really fun to do. Reaction to ambushes and stuff. Doing operations that are played out. Really fun to do, just stuff that it simulates the military and what it is that they actually do. I would like to see a lot more of that in the community rather than just everybody just going and battling each other and just trying to pull in another win. I think Squid fell asleep there.
God damn it, I was talking on mute. I need to stop doing that.
That's fine, some of us do it. I just did it myself trying to talk to you guys.
But, what do you think causes the most problems in the Milsim community?
Did you not see the fucking trailer?
Cancer
units. What fucking...
Alright, I'll go ahead and speak up, because Crescent is over here. I think he's had enough to talk tonight.
No, I've been stepping back a bit because during the history portion I spoke a lot, so I'm letting the other people on my command staff speak a little bit more now.
Okay. So, I think a lot of the problem is some of these units who don't simulate properly, but they believe they do, and they try to pass it off. I'm not saying necessarily cancer units, I'm saying units that don't do the research they need to, and they try to pass it off as well.
Pretty much like they've been playing Milsim for
Wiki Warriors.
So they've been playing Milsim for so long that they actually think that they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
That would be part of it. It's and you could I can definitely say that at some point in time I've felt like that. I don't think I would have ever done anything like that. If anybody has ever known me, I never try to say something unless I know it for sure. But I know for sure that some of these units will try and pass off like they know something. But when it comes down to it, everybody knows the same exact thing that you do about your unit. It's just, do you have a military advisor for your unit now? And I think that's going to be a big help is these military advisors. It's gonna help get rid of some of the problems, because some of these guys who are active duty military can say like, hey, well, your unit doesn't use, you know, blah blah blah, so you can't simulate blah 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 for it.
Right.
As
yeah,
an example,
I love these military advisors.
As an example, I believe I was previously in a unit. This was.
Corsair is actually the naval military advisor.
Yeah, yeah, he is. I was really proud to see that he got that position. I think that's cool.
Indeed.
He got, I think SWAT's the Marine.
Sarn's Army.
I think just 2 Marine Corps.
Obama is Air Force.
Yeah, he's like the only one because they're like.
Do we have a Coast Guard? There's no car. I don't.
What the hell's a Coast
Guard?
Guard?
Coast Guard Milsims in the community? If there's any Coast Guard Milsims in the community, feel free to give a shout out.
We don't talk about
that here.
Shout out to you.
I feel worried about them.
Shout out to the Coast Guard Milsims.
We don't talk about the Coast Guard ever.
I feel that these military advisors are going to help get rid of the biggest problem, which is improper simulation. And that's a problem that starts other problems.
Right.
Wikipedia can be edited by anyone to make a point.
Exactly. I mean, my senior year was 2012, and they always told us, don't slack off, do your research, you know, Wikipedia can be edited by anyone, any of these sites can be edited by anyone.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because you get taught that in school, like Wikipedia is a horrible place for information, and why are all these units getting information from Wikipedia? Like, I know
evidently
that these people
go to school.
I mean, best place for information is always boot camp or your local military advisors.
Exactly.
The only time I ever look at Wikipedia for any sort of information on what I'm interested in is for literally a quick run over.
Right.
Looking at.
And you got to take it all with a grain of salt because you really don't know.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Right.
Whoever is shooting at me is a horrible shot.
With Wikipedia, I'm pretty sure you have to take it with like a block of salt, not just a grain.
Block.
Well, the whole thing about it is you never know exactly who edits Wikipedia. I mean, there are some things on there that are edited by like 8-year-olds who are like, "Oh, crayons taste good," or Marines.
Hey.
But then there are some things that you get on there and you're like, "This is really in depth. Like, I need to have another look at it." There's a whole thing about you need to scan multiple websites. Pick out what they have in common. It's like trying to figure out what is really the news. Like what's biased and what's not.
Yeah, you gotta sift through all the stuff to find the actual information.
It's also a thing you can use Wikipedia as a reliable resource. You just have to look at the sources and all the way down to the bottom. Make sure the sources are like actual sites. Like there could be one that's somebody uses blah 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 and everything, while another one is like all government sources or like all educational sources, which is going to have like your actual stuff.
Anybody on fucking Wikipedia can say, "Oh, this is directly from the government website," but you go to the website and it's like, "Where the fuck is this?"
Hey Squid, I have a question for you.
What's up?
So I've been hearing this new chatter about this new implementing a new kind of Milsim system on the way of battles and stuff like that. I don't know if you've been hearing any talk about that, but I've been hearing a little bit of that.
Wait, can you repeat that?
Like for rushing into objectives and getting the cap and holding pretty much everybody at spawn and shit like that.
I haven't heard really.
Are you talking about a new tactic people are using?
Yeah, because I've been hearing a lot of chatter on the community about that.
Oh, like you talking about like people like literally just sitting outside of the objective and waiting for the game to start, and then they'll immediately move into the objective?
Yeah, and they've been like saying
that's crap.
Let's push back and blah blah blah. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
yeah, that's all that.
Honestly, the way I like it, you start on one side, I start on the other side, and we battle it out. It's a tug of war. Whoever pushes the hardest is going to be the one that's going to be in that spawn trap. So, or if it's a good battle, it'll never be a spawn trap, and you guys will constantly be fighting. So,
yeah. Alright, next question is, well, this is kind of an obvious one. Is your unit in any wars or conflicts? Which you guys were, but at the moment you're not anymore.
Yes. No, we are currently not in any conflict anymore with Operation Nevermore. The 5th Marine Regiment War coming to an end here. The 173rd Airborne is really looking now not to really focus so much on being in a war, more so focusing on our unit and our internals. We're really looking to build up the unit in terms of numbers. We're currently revising a number of trainings, implementing new trainings, systems, etc., in order to really get our unit even further to where we want it to be right now. So that's really what the 173rd's up to at the moment. No wars. We're peace right now. Alert status is green.
Yeah, because with us doing wars and everything, it gives the new guys, because during the war, how many recruits did we pull in? We had...
Oh god, yeah.
It was a decent amount of recruits that we
had
pulled
about...
in while the war was going on.
Uh-huh.
But the thing is that while the war is going on, yeah, we can host trainings, we can do different things like that, and it also gives those new recruits... Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, yeah, I was like, we can put trainings and everything, but if a raid starts up, if we're going into battle for a war, I mean, that really kind of negates the training, so it makes it a little hard.
Yeah, because the war, it'll give the new recruits experience and everything, whether they're seasoned veterans or whether they're greenhorns to the Milsim community. It can kind of vary with it. If there's a war going on, yeah, you get that experience and everything, but what's the experience going to matter if you're kind of going into the battle not really knowing how your team operates? So if we're able to do trainings and everything and kind of show these guys how we run, what we do, how we run, and everything, it helps out whenever we actually go into a war, we go into a JTO or something. It helps out on our side move much more smoothly, whether it be communication or whether it actually be moving in the field.
All right, coordination and communication, brother.
Objective Bravo is now in our control.
Yeah. But the next question, you can be as honest as you can, or you can not say anything at all. Who do you think makes the most trouble in the Milsim community?
Preston.
Who? What?
No. Alright, so honestly...
Alright,
hey. Alright. Honestly, I think the big troublemaker is gone with 5MR leaving the community.
Yeah, honestly.
That is very much agreed.
There will still be troublemakers, but I think the biggest problem is out of here. I'm not trying to be mean to them. Whether or not they realized it, they did start conflict. A lot more than they have joined.
Right. Yeah, honestly, with 5th Marine Regiment gone and out of the picture now, Blacklist vote is still up. I don't think it's been finalized yet. I could be wrong. Correct me if I am so. But honestly, I feel with 5th Marine Regiment and Crow out of the picture here, this will sort of enter us into an era, well, not necessarily an era, but a time in which we're not going to have as many issues, but there's always going to be that troublemaker. There'll always be that troublemaker unit. that's going to try to start something with someone, and a war will sprout out from it, or a series of raids. I mean, it's just sort of the cycle of the community. It seems now one of the biggest issues in the community, or if not the biggest issue out of the community. But I mean, things will eventually, I feel, go back to their normal.
Yeah,
So
things will start to kick back up with conflicts.
For a question from Flagsterman 123, what do you guys plan to do now that the war is over? For armor, I believe that we'll be just recruiting, training, trying to get our tankers to the best of their ability. When we're done with that,
Tankers will be running through their tank school here soon, so we have a whole class that's going to be running through a tank school.
Yeah, we will be.
It's very much the same. So with our new pilots, actually.
Yep.
Yeah, with armor wise, we will be implementing a new tank school that's going to be going on. We have two different tank schools that we're gonna try to run through and everything, but we're gonna end up choosing one of them to use as our main one. And while we're running our guys through it and stuff, it's definitely going to help them be able to get to know, I guess you could say, get to know their tank, get to know the battlefield and everything, and learn different strategies. But our main goal with running our guys through armor, I mean, my XO can easily tell you a whole lot more, because I really haven't been in the picture all that much. I've been busy with work and having a girlfriend, having to do different things and stuff, so my XO has been playing more of the CO part while I've been absent and stuff. But from what I can tell, my XO, he's been doing a really good job about it. He's been doing some trainings that have been scheduled, guys have showed up to. So our main focus is we're trying to get our guys going through a tank school and everything, get them tank certed. That way we can get our tankers on the battlefield to help out through JTOs, wars, whatever it may be.
Yeah, if I may interrupt, Trigger. We're mostly
you're fine. I'm finished.
That's okay. For right now, since the war is over, we're looking more on what our problems were when we were fighting, for example, the Allies of 5MR, and fixing those problems that we had during combat in infantry and in our tanks. And one of the biggest trainings that we're going to go through right now that I've hosted is dealing with infantry as you're in a tank, because we've had a couple of problems with a little bit of RPGs, things like that have been knocking us out.
Right.
But we've also been helping and getting our tankers a lot better with infantry assets only, without engagements with tanks. So we have been trying to post a couple of trainings so the tankers can be, 173rd best.
Yeah, honestly, overall, like I said before, we're just looking to grow up the unit right now, really focus on training the guys and get them to the full operating potential that they have overall for each of our detachments, and the main unit as well, the 173rd Airborne Brigade, and of course the Airborne Company that is under the overall unit, which is the 2nd Battalion 503rd Airborne Infantry Company, ran by First Lieutenant Kong, who's actually unable to be here today, unfortunately.
Alright, last question we got for today is, what do you wish to see changed in the Milsim community?
Change.
Over that.
Yeah, I feel like we kind of have. I mean, overall, I would like to see more on the simulation side, less on the win-loss side. I'd like to see more professionalism out of commanding officers in their respective units. And no offense to any commanding officer, I'm just stating it as a general statement that people shouldn't be going in there so hot-headed. They should really take a lot more things into perspective before going into something, because as they say, think before you speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It saves a lot of drama.
Yeah, and I mean, something else is that with the community, like CEO Crescent said, is simulation with Milsim and everything is way bigger than the win-loss ratio. Yeah, win-loss ratio, that's a big thing in the like with some people and everything. They want to have that, I guess you could say, that high of like winning constant JTOs and stuff. But if you're not simulating Milsim properly and you call yourself a Milsim team, that completely negates everything of what your team stands for.
Right.
The whole thing behind being in the Milsim community is that you're simulating the military simulation. You're actually, because the way that I see it is that we're showing tribute to the people who are actually in the armed forces and everything. We're showing some kind of tribute to them, whether they know we're doing it or whether they don't. But
well, I mean, we have a pretty good veterans side of the community.
yeah, and I mean, it's just something like, to me, it's just we're showing some kind of tribute and everything to them, whether like, besides like sending them out care packages or something like that to help them while they're on deployment. But it's kind of more or less like you're honoring the unit that you're under. Because with the 25th Infantry Division, I actually didn't live too far away from where one of the 25th Infantry Divisions was actually put at and everything. When I was serving under their name, as you can see in my gamer tag, I changed it to 25th ID because I take pride in saying that I was a part of the 25th ID, and then we transferred to 173rd Airborne. It's just a thing of showing tribute to them and everything, and it's just kind of something that you want to show good simulation of, like, the military and everything. It's not all about your win-loss ratio and stuff. It's about how well you can simulate how you do as a Milsim and everything. If you're just running around with Russian weapons, but you simulate as an American team, then you're not like simulating Milsim at all. You're just doing whatever you want to do. If you're simulating Milsim, try to talk to somebody inside the unit that's actually either
simulate the military
or a veteran. Yeah, you actually want to simulate what it is and try to like show the correct thing.
Right. Well, I think that just about wraps it up there, Squid.
Yeah, that's about all the questions I got for you.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I get it. I'm ready to answer more if you want.
Is there anything more you'd like to hear about the 173rd?
Can't really think of any questions right now.
Yeah.
All right.
This guy just
I gotcha, yeah.
Just real quick, if whoever's watching the stream currently and everything, if you guys may have any questions or something like that, throw it up in the like in the chat and everything. I'm pretty sure we probably have a couple minutes to where we can answer like any small questions or anything. Regardless of who it
Salty,
is.
if you don't mind me asking, when is your next interview set up? I don't want to be intruding in your next interview, brother.
What the fuck? Well, next guest is supposed to be Colonel Satan. He had a time frame of like 9 to something, or 10 to something.
Okay, well it's currently 10:41. So, do you wanna take in? Is there any questions in the chat, or you want to wrap this up so you can get to the next interview there?
Chat really hasn't been.
We don't want to make you late.
Chat really hasn't been talking.
It's because they feel intimidated by us.
Oh god.
Oh lord.
Oh god.
No, we should be. I feel like we should get to the point to where we're a unit that's as approachable as 101A or as 4MD. I feel like we really want to be right. We want to be an approachable unit, and you know, we're not trying to look like Billy Badass, as my dad would say.
Yeah, because like I was saying in the beginning, like what Bama told me, stay humble. Remember your roots. Like, we don't want to become a huge unit and just start bashing people and being a dickhole. That's not our plans.
Yeah, that's not our main goal and our main drive.
No, not at all. Not
it is one of them. But... No, I'm joking.
Casey, don't make me come over there.
I'm more of here for comedy relief. Also, the acting XO of the unit.
Indeed.
I wouldn't
that's a
take
boat.
anything I've said too seriously.
Yeah, Casey's
Well,
a good guy.
there are some things that you would have to take serious and everything, but in Casey's case, don't take anything
Right.
serious.
Well, I've been around in 2 different communities for a total of 6 years. I was in the
Right, because you were in the
I was in the
European
UK community for about 2 years. No, 4 years, and I've been in the United States, the one that's based here. I've been in this community for
Sorry,
about
Reg.
2 years. Back in the UK community, I ran a unit called the 31st Marines Special Operative Forces, or MSOF for short. But we didn't really have any. We weren't attached to anyone. We weren't detached to anyone. Everybody really saw that as a problem. After about 2 years of running it, kind of just everybody became inactive. Nobody wanted to get on, so I went looking for another community.
I
Found the
think one of the biggest
25th in 2016, and this has been my home ever since.
What did you say, Salty?
What?
Well, I thought you
He
said
didn't
something.
say it was road rage.
Oh, that was road rage? Oh.
I think one
Just
of the
to
biggest
make your
things that I
voices.
find with this unit that I really grow fond of is the family basis that's surrounded by it. 'Cause I've been with plenty of units, 1B9M, 75th, 24th. I've been with a lot of units. And yes, some were family based, but not as based upon as 173rd. And
That's something.
I've come across a couple of privates and stuff like that have won a good BD-214s, and we're, again, just too scared to ask for them. And that's one of the biggest things is you got to treat everyone in your Milsim and in the community, I believe, as just a family. And that's what I think we've just gone and grown so far from. And then that's what I would like to see, is the Milsim come back as a family instead of as a.
Because at
like
the end
you
of the day,
stated,
no
crescent
matter which way you
war.
look at it, we're all gamers. We all like to have fun. We're all here to have fun and hopefully simulate properly, like Milsim's supposed to be, and just have a good time. And we're all
Hey,
the
Salty,
same.
where are you at? So I can lay in my M24 down.
He's already
'cause I
killed me
mean-
with the M249.
Because, with all the units and everything, there's only one thing that sets us apart from each other, and that's honestly just the name. We're all in it for the same exact purpose. It just depends on how good one unit simulates better than the other, and that's kind of the competitive side of the community, is being able to kind of show, like, when you do JTOs, it's like, okay, they can simulate better than us, so we need to simulate better than them. It's just kind of like a drive to it.
Right. Don't strive for that win-loss. Strive for that simulation, brothers.
Alright, gents, I think that's about enough for all we got for today.
I gotcha.
Okay.
No, glad
Alright.
that you decided to have us on your stream today, though, brother. Appreciate it.
No biggie.
I appreciate that you took the time out of your night to come interview us about what we thought of the community and where we've come from.
It's all good, man. It's all good, man. Alright.
If this does happen again, just try and make sure we don't talk as much.
Yeah, well, if that's all you need from me, sadly, I have to go ahead and drop out and everything. I'm going to be doing some things tomorrow, so I have to go ahead and drop out of here. But I do thank you for having me on the stream and everything. I do thank you for having all of us on the stream. Hope that you guys all have a good night.
Roger that, man.
Yep, you too, brother.
Thanks for coming on board.
Yeah, I'm
thank
gonna
you so
drop
much.
out.
You guys have a good
It
night.
was good talking to you guys.
Yep, nice talking to you too, bro.
Okay.
And to I guess I would say all those that are watching right now, For anybody that is watching, thank you for coming and watching the stream, and definitely support Milsim News Network here. Salty's a good guy. Like I said, thank you again, Salty, for having us on here, brother.
You're always welcome, man. Always anytime.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Well, with that being said, I think me and my men are going to fall out. We'll let you get into that next interview there, brother.
Alright, y'all have a good one.
Yep, you too, man. Take it easy.
Will do. Alright, let's get our next guest in here. Sorry it took so long, ladies and gents. But let's get Mr. Sparrow. 261. Not much. Let's go ahead and make sure audio is included.
There we go.
Alright, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself with a name, rank, and unit?
My name is Sparrow, better known as Colonel Satan online. I am the commanding officer of 2nd Special Forces Operational Detachment, or in layman's terms, Delta Force.
Yeah, tell us about your unit.
My unit is, obviously we're Army Special Forces. We operate more so in the infantry department than any assets. We do have assets available to us, however we do specialize in infantry-only combat. That's our go-to area of expertise, is infantry combat, as I believe it's the foundation of every team. Though 101A kind of puts that one out the window. As their assets are pretty phenomenal, as I learned the other day. We are very team-oriented. I make sure that my unit puts the team effort before any individual effort. My mentality behind this is, if an individual in the unit goes 140 and 60, that's great, but if the rest of the unit goes negative, then we lose that engagement. However, if the whole team goes 60 and 40, we all do pretty well and we win that engagement. But that's my unit in a nutshell.
Rock on. Now, what do you think about the BF4 community?
I think it's nice to see them come together on occasion. The community itself, we can get pretty divided over certain topics. However, it's nice to see them come together over certain topics recently, and most unfortunately it being the topic of 5MR. That being said, I was involved in a war doc on that aspect, along with most of the community. So it was nice to see them come together over a topic like that and make sure that the community is upholding a certain standard.
Alright. Any thoughts on the BF1 side of the house?
Can you repeat that?
Any thoughts on the Battlefield 1 side of the community?
Battlefield 1 has always been kind of a stranger to me. I never really got into it, and I don't really have any plans to move my unit to Battlefield 1. If anything, if I was going to branch my unit off into any game, it would most likely be the upcoming Battlefield. Not that there's much known about it, but I've got high hopes for it and their ability to make Milsim a little more applicable in that area. However, I'm not bashing the Battlefield 1 Milsim teams or anything like that. You know, it's just not for me and my unit.
Alright. I got sidetracked there for a second.
No, you're all good.
Now, a lot of people saying that next Battlefield's gonna be World War II and whatnot. There is a reveal, apparently a reveal trailer come out on the 23rd this month. Now, if it happens to be World War II, is your unit gonna go over to World War II?
If the game itself comes out to be World War II, I'd have to experience the gameplay a little bit for myself and decide on whether or not it would be a good basis for my unit to build off of. You know, Battlefield 1, the loadouts they didn't really provide much of an area for anyone to customize their loadout. It was more like you spawned in as one class and you had like one decent weapon and that was it. Now I hate to make Milsim about like weapons and things like that because it's not. It's about simulating properly and honoring our service members. However, for Milsim, a lot of individuals don't get the whole honoring the service members thing. They just choose to do it to experience Battlefield in a new fashion. And by restricting loadout customization and things like that, it really hinders the ability to experience Battlefield in a new light. So, as far as the new Battlefield being World War II and things like that, I'll give it a try. I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to branching off into it. However, like I said, I'd have to experience the game for myself and decide whether or not it would be a good basis for my unit to branch off into.
Alright. Any plans? You're probably gonna answer no to this one, but are there any plans to move over to BF1 to give it a shot?
Probably not. Like I said, the loadout customization is very singular or linear, if you will. So, you know, a lot of my unit prefers to be able to adjust to a situation. So, by that I don't mean MOS swapping or anything like that. I do allow them to switch their weapons as long as they stay in their designated class. So, for example, if you're a recon and you're using a sniper rifle, but the situation calls for you to have more of a CQB element, then I do allow you to switch to an M4 or a DMR, as long as because both those weapons are in that designated class. The problem with Battlefield 1 is you don't get that availability. It's very linear, so that's the issue I face with branching off to Battlefield 1.
Alright. Are there any problems in the community that could be fixed? Any problems you see that could be fixed?
No, not really. My team, we really don't get involved much in politics. We do try to help smaller, younger teams. For example...
Oh, you just cut out. You sound distant.
How about now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Wonderful. As I was saying, I caught flack a little bit earlier because my team liked to help younger, smaller teams, and I caught flack over.
And is my cut out again?
These Walmart mics. Oh, you what?
$20 mics, man, they work wonders.
And no kidding, I'm gonna have to go pick one up. My God. I guess my mic's shit in the bed. Oh. Trying to do this. But yeah. My unit likes to help younger, smaller teams that are first starting out. We're trying to help 23rd or now 12 ID, a unit that caught some flack in the community pretty consistently for a few weeks. We advise that they go into isolation to work on their unit and themselves and how they present themselves in the community, and we are currently still helping them grow and prosper as a unit so that they can properly simulate and present themselves in the community as respectable individuals. Other than that, I don't really see any issues in the community that needs dealing with immediately. A lot of units put in a lot of work to making sure that the community is striving to be the best it can be.
Alright. Next question is, what do you think causes the most problems in the Milsim community?
Probably politics.
Too much pulsing or something?
Yeah. A unit's desire to achieve a sense of power, if you will. They kind of rub people the wrong way when they go about it like that. They'll get things a certain way and they throw a fit like an angry child. You know, if something doesn't go your way, you can't just throw a fit in the community, because then you're gonna cause a bunch of issues. It's like dropping a rock in water. You have a real nice ripple effect from it.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion. You know, people just starting issues over small things that, if they got into a party on Xbox together and talked it out, wouldn't have been as big an issue.
Alright. Next question is your unit in any wars or conflicts at the moment?
My unit is currently at war with 5MR. We are part of the Task Force Dagger war document. We're included in that not because of, personally, I didn't include my unit in on that war doc because of Crow's actions. I included my unit on that war doc because of his decision to ally himself with units like 1MEB, sorry, Whiskey, 1MEB and Chase, and individuals like that have been proven to be less than respectable. And personally, I was involved in those damn wars, so my dislike for Chase and his unit is extensive. So when Crow allied himself to them, I was pretty hasty in jumping in on that war doc.
Alright.
But as our terms have not been met, I am still currently at war.
Oh, shit. Alright. Next question is, you can be as honest as possible. Who do you think makes the most trouble in the Milsim community?
I don't think any of the veteran guys really do it anymore. Mostly it's, excuse me for a second. Sorry about that. Really, it's just the newer units that come into the community and they want to make a name for themselves. So they start getting real aggressive and things like that, causing issues in the community. I don't really think it's any of the veteran guys anymore. It's more the younger, smaller units that are trying to make a name for themselves.
Alright. The last question is, what do you wish to see changed in the Milsim community?
Right now, I think it's doing fine in and of itself. Moving forward and a lot of key topics like on blacklisting putting in the blacklist again. That was something I argued for pretty heavily, and that passed. So right now we're moving in the right direction, and I enjoy seeing all the teams working together, whether it be on the field or in the chat. Arguments in the community really won't result in much other than hurt feelings and, tears in your Code Red Mountain Dew. So, I much prefer to settle things on the field. As most people in the community can tell you, I raid a lot. It's what my unit does. We raid. Mostly because we love raid settings. But right now, the community itself seems to be doing fairly well. I would like to see it grow a little bit more and get some new teams in here, but time will tell if more units come in, and summer's coming up, so those goddamn summer teams are sure to be making an appearance here soon.
Alright. Yeah. Well, that's all the questions I got for you, man.
Alright, man. Thank you for having me.
Sorry it took so long. The first guest gave us a real in-depth history about their unit.
Oh boy. And, I saw in the community chat that you were streaming with the 173rd.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that.
It'll be up on YouTube here shortly.
I'll have to give it a look. Those guys seem like decent guys. I don't really talk to them much, but they seem like decent guys. So I'll have to go get that history lesson from them, see what their unit's about. Other than that, man.
Alright, man, that's it.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, brother.
Anytime, you're always welcomed. Have a good one.